Hello, I'm Deborah Sword.
Hi, I'm Tyson Banker.
Tyson, I want to talk about how you can use conflict as information to help you improve the conflict competencies you already have. Because if you improve your conflict competencies, you improve your relationships.
Mm, mm. Okay, tell me more about, well, let's provide people with more information. What information do you feel like you use to be more confident?
So let's say we're having a conflict and I start to get uncomfortable. There's something I'm not seeing or hearing that you
Hmm.
have pointed out to me. We have a fight, I go away, and as I walk away, there's a conversation going on in my mind, something that I'm not hearing. And if I say to myself, Tyson just pushed my buttons, well, right away, that's information. Wait, what triggered me? Why is that a trigger? What am I uncomfortable about with that trigger? And right away, I can have the opportunity, if I take it, of diving into a deeper way of thinking about the issue that you and I were fighting about. And at that point, it stops being about what we were fighting about, and I can look at what I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, I think about that information piece. There's so many cues that we can start to um, glean from, right? Body language, to listening to what the person's saying, to also, I think, things that we're maybe not clear about. Those maybe missing gaps between our perception and then your perception. You might be walking away, and I might go, "Oh, she always does this," right? Uh, and being able to always, do you always actually do this? What kind of information am I also repeating certain cycles as well? Is this, yeah? And I think that would be something where it starts to question what information or facts are we telling ourselves?
And you bring up the cycles, the patterns. That's
Hmm.
another piece of information. If you say, Tyson never does this thing that I need, well, why do I need it? Where else can I get it? Is this something I can offer in or ask for in a different way? So every point in the fight, in the conflict, is a data point. It's a place where we can say, what's really going on here? What of my needs is not being met? And is this an expectation I have? Have I told Tyson that I expect this? So there's so much going on that I can use as part of my growth and my conflict competency so that I can bridge from reacting to you and reacting to my triggers to actually responding competently and use it for my own growth and to be more mature in how I
Hmm.
fight with you.
Yeah,
Not that
like
we've
that
ever had a
confident.
not that we've ever had a fight. You're one of my best friends. I've never had a fight with you, but if
Likewise.
we ever do,
And when that day potentially happens, who knows? I think the that clarity that maybe we will both look for to ensure that we've been curious and dig into some of that information, to find potentially a resolution is, I think, it's part of that competency that you've mentioned. And I think some people might go, "Oh, I love, I'm good with conflict." But to your point, maybe you've skipped all the different information, and the resolution just is something that it's not complete. It actually will come up again because you haven't gotten that information to make the right adjustments in behavior or in or in the right conditions.
yeah, and when you
And I
talk
think
about
we talk about think about your thinking, and I think that to me is think about the thinking that's for that information, right?
exactly, and when you talk about adjustments, um, and in behavior, we're not trying to change anybody. We're
Right.
asking you to look at your behavior. You decide if
Yeah.
you want to adapt. Is it working for you the way it is now? And we're talking about thinking about your own thinking, but and you mentioned curiosity. I wouldn't hesitate to say to somebody I'm in conflict with, I just say, I have questions about what just happened. Can we just put this fight aside for a second and talk about what questions we should be asking each other? What am I not understanding about your reaction that will help me understand what triggered me? So these are all data points. They're pieces of information because you want to grow your conflict competence and because that will improve the quality of your relationships. Discomfort is growth. And what is it you've said in the past, Tyson? It's scary, but learning comes from living. These are all experiences to help us.
Hmm. Great. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we hope to see you next week with a new edition. And share, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Hello. While I was editing this video to post it, I thought it might be fun to include the discussion that Tyson and I have before we started recording. This is the way that we normally discuss, okay, why don't we talk about this topic? And we throw around some ideas and then we just talk. So here's the discussion.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start with that one.
So I've listed some of the ways I think of that conflict is information and that it's uncovering a blind spot, showing you where your boundaries are, helping you change your mind, bridging from reacting to responding, and going deeper into ways of thinking about issues. And you'll come up with more. You always do. That's why I like doing this with you, is you always add something I haven't thought of.
For this question, I'm also just thinking about in um like yes and of like information, like also being curious about what the information is telling you that's actually maybe not correct either. Like, what more do I need to actually be able to have the kind of confidence, like to fill that, where it's like, oh, Deborah was kind of giving me a little, and I want to talk about it. But then it's also like, oh, actually, Deborah said she had a really bad day today, and being able to like have full some like the complete potential or being more curious. So that's something that's coming up for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. So we are recording now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you ready to start?
I'm ready.
Okay. Hello, I'm Deborah Sword.
Hi, I'm Tyson Banker.
Tyson, I want to talk about how you can use conflict as information to help you improve the conflict competencies you already have.